he really thought that this was radio. Like it like actually kind of blows my mind. He was so mean. He was the meanest person. I actually did like actually have to refer that to my buddy Alan. You guys are lucky I'm even here today. It's Rosh Hashanah. Is she? Yeah, Cam usually gets off, but she it's like this year for whatever reason, her doctor decided to keep the practice open. Everybody else had to go in, and she's off. Like, wow, that's incredible. It's a Jewish holiday. It's like a sun up to sundown type beat. No, Cam's boss is Jewish. And my best friend is Jewish, so I know. I worked at Cable 9 for like my internship to get out of Rodona early my senior year. And they had me filming like high school sports and like all kinds of stuff. One time we were filming like girls soccer. The shit that would go on in the headsets were just hilarious. The dude like radios down to our boss. He's like, Greg, I gotta get out of here. It's Rosh Hashanah. The sun's going down. Steve, you're not Jewish.
Glasses for all those nerds out there.
Thomas Bryant jockstrap, get him out of here! Ah!
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Ramos, get back! They snatched that chain, boy. Get back! What y'all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back! We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back!
Hey everybody, welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, joined by Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, and Rob Watson. Today is a gorgeous Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, our first Victory Tuesday. Do victories go all the way till Tuesday?
No.
I know in the locker room it's 24 hours, then you're back to work, but I think as Browns fans, maybe we get an extended period until Wednesday, then we can look ahead to the Detroit Lions, because we're going to need all the win we can get.
Nah, they practiced today, bro. It's time to move on. And Detroit looked, after that first week, they've been looking good. So it's definitely time to get focused on that. But we did just beat a team that handled Detroit. So maybe we got that to hang our hats on, though.
Nick, I see you're here with somebody on your chest.
Oh, got a little Jose Ramirez chain. Huge day today, guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yes, I will consider it a Victory Tuesday, but it needs to be a Victory Tuesday and ultimately a Victory Wednesday tomorrow.
And
for
a
the
Thursday.
Guards. And a Thursday. Why
Jack, the biggest Guards fan, I know. How are you feeling, man? Big series coming up.
It is a massive series. I appreciate that honor you just bestowed upon me, Ryan. Yeah, it's Tarek Skubal Hate Day. We just talked about it. He can't walk in our city without saying hi first. Yeah, he's going to be greeted by 40,000-ish loud Guardians fans. Last time he talked to them in a setting like this, hung one right down the middle of the lane. Thomas ended his season. So regular season awards are great, but people are always remembered by how they do when the lights are brightest, and going to find out today.
Well, we have a jam-packed show today. We're reacting to the Browns' upset victory 13-10 over the Green Bay Packers. We'll talk if Joe Flacco should be under center for the Cleveland Browns in Week 4 when they take on the Detroit Tigers. The Guardians begin a massive homestand against the Detroit Tigers for potentially the AL Central crown. Should Jose Ramirez be considered for AL MVP? I'll get your guys' thought on that. Oh, yeah, by by the way, Ohio State running back James Peoples joins the Big Factor to talk about his Popeyes NIL deal and Ohio State as they get ready to join Big Ten play. All right, guys, we start here with our Cleveland Browns. We talked yesterday, had our instant reaction. We had 24 hours to kind of simmer on that win. Boy, does it feel good. Right now, Browns 1-2, tied with the Baltimore Ravens for the basement of the AFC North at 1-2. Believe it or not, Bengals are actually leading, even with the minus 33-point differential because they're 2-1 and they are 1-0 in the AFC North, of course, defeating the Cleveland Browns.
Nasty work.
You know, how are you guys feeling 24 hours removed, a little bit longer after that massive upset from the Cleveland Browns? Feels good to get in the win column. We talked about it. We might not have many more of these, so we got to enjoy them when they come.
Dude, I'm still feeling awesome about this. I can't shake the feeling. This defense is for real. I think if the defense wasn't as good as it is, like the defense is quite literally number 1 in the league. Even if it was like 5 in the league or 8 in the league or 10 in the league, like I'm not feeling that great today because I know the offense is so bad, but that defense is just incredible. Guys are flying around making plays. They're getting after the quarterback, and that's sustainable. I really think you can sustain that through a season. Now, we've talked and we will continue to talk today that the offense has to do their part, carry their part, but how could you not be feeling good after that win still? What new information have we gotten since that win? Dwan Jones is going to be out for the remainder of the year. We're going to get a lot more Cornelius Lucas. So take that for what it's worth. But the defensive side of the ball should have Browns fans excited because I really think that side can keep you in these ball games.
Let me ask you guys this. How much does that win, if at all, kind of change your outlook on this season?
It does.
Yeah, please elaborate.
In a positive way, because I think like it shows you you're going to have to lean on the defense. The offense, if it could get right, you could certainly steal wins. Like that's what it showed me, is that now you're going to be in all these games and you've proven, and I think that's a big layer for this to the dudes in the locker room. Like they proved to themselves, okay, we just pulled off the biggest upset in the first couple weeks of the National Football League. We could do that again because we have a really good defense. We have a veteran quarterback. We have a smart head coach that's going to game plan as best as he can to make up for the inefficiencies on the offensive side of the ball. Like, I do think Browns fans shouldn't feel bad or be ashamed of having a more optimistic outlook on the team than what they did going into the Packers game, because the team finally proved to you, the fans, that they could win a game like that.
Everyone should have a much better outlook on the team because we finally have a youth movement going in the city. Before we had to acknowledge that most of our good players were all old, but we're seeing young guys come in and make plays. And this defense is a lot of talent, and now you have that foundation set, along with finding that you have a running back who can make things work with no blocking. 87 yards after contact. That was almost all of his rushing yards came after somebody hit him on Sunday. Now you got 2 guys at quarterback that might be the answer, and you got that to look forward to. So if you get someone out there, a quarterback, who could be okay, just okay, and make the passing game okay and make the offense okay, you're a very good football team because you have the best defense in the NFL. So definitely, you should be feeling more optimistic, and the sun should just be a little bit brighter when you go outside when it's up there.
I think you also got to look at the locker room too. Like if you're a guy like Kevin Stefanski, there's a chance that even still to this day, that voice is starting to run out a bit in that locker room. Like the phrases that you hear year after year over and over again starts to get old a little bit. So anytime you can go out there and get a win like that, like it kind of reaffirms that voice a little bit. Like, yeah, you know what, this guy might know what he's talking about, or yeah, like we as a unit can go out there and get that kind of a W.
You know, Rob, you mentioned the youth movement, and you're exactly right. You've had 5, if you want to include Andre Schmidt, rookies come in and make immediate impacts. Like big, meaningful
one, just a teeny bit.
He's still one in the game. Big, meaningful impacts. Of course, Mason Graham, we talked about the Seth Walder stat, a 43% pass rush rate. The average for D tackles is 9%.
That's just absurd.
That's a hit. You have Quinshon Judkins, who amidst the legal trouble comes into 2 games and is the leading rookie running back despite just 28 touches on the season, giving the Browns almost a 100-yard rushing game for the first time in quite some time. You have Dylan Sampson as well in the running back
Got to
room.
put him in the game again.
And Harold Fannin, who, by the way, might be the Browns' top receiver at the end of the year, which sounds crazy to think about, but in terms of target share, it certainly looks that way with Joe Flacco so far. And if you include Andre Schmidt, a rookie, I know not necessarily drafted, but did win you a game, did lose you a game.
We
also talked about
Maybe it's a
Bond
wash.
too.
And
There was a world where he could have had a couple.
And I completely skipped over Carson Schlesinger, who might be the best of the entire bunch, leading that defense.
Bond
with
does
a great
look
guy.
solid if someone could throw
Yeah,
him
if
the ball.
he could get the ball, we'd be talking about 7 of them right now.
What's nice about this, And Ryan, what you just hit right there, all of those names, and it's tremendously early. We're 3 weeks into the season, so these guys could fall off a cliff once they get figured out across the National Football League. But what's encouraging about this is when you start to get these young players that are producing, you can become one of those teams. And I'm not saying it's going to be this year. I don't even know that it's going to be next year. You eventually can become one of those teams that comes out of nowhere and surprises everybody because you quietly put together a very talented roster. Now, the offensive line is going to be a question mark in the short term and the long term. All 5 of those guys are free agents. Joel Bitonio could retire. Jack Conklin could retire. You could be looking at Ethan Pochik walk away in free agency. Wyatt Teller's a free agent, and the left tackle is just a big question mark. So that whole thing has to get figured out. But you look around the team on both sides of the ball. I'll give a little credit where it's due. Isaiah Bond's getting open. Jerry Jeudy is still really good, even though the production thus far hasn't matched what he was able to do last year. Harold Fannin Jr. certainly seems to be a gem. I saw some Brian Baldinger film breakdowns. They're using...
there's been a lot of Baldy breakdowns.
Bro, they're using Harold Fannin Jr. in the same route concepts that the Chiefs use prime Travis Kelce.
He's a dog.
In game 3 of his career.
Dog. Now, wait, I got a question early on, not to like steer away too much, but kind of touching on what Nick just said. Me and my friends, this has been a growing sentiment that we have. We don't want the Browns to take a quarterback in the first round next year. Now, I know that sounds insane, guys. I know it sounds insane, but with our 2 first-round picks, we need them to somehow get a number 1 receiver and a starting tackle. That's kind of where we're leaning right now. I know it sounds a little crazy. Maybe you could get a receiver in the second round. But I'm starting to think, maybe hold off on quarterback because it might be a little disappointing with this class. Get a top guy at receiver, get a tackle, and then maybe you start making quarterbacks look better because you got pieces around them to succeed.
And I feel like, not that I know everything in the world about offensive lineman hype entering an NFL draft by any stretch of the imagination, but like the way you see people in the know talk about Francis Mauigoa from Miami, Florida, and Caden Proctor from Alabama, like it seems like there might be 2 tackles that are legitimately top 10 prospects this year, and that makes it a whole lot easier.
I think I am a tad bit scarred of taking an Alabama tackle
in the first round.
However, guys, we all know this means nothing if the Browns don't have a quarterback. Now, Joe Flacco through 3 games this season, 61.1 completion percentage, 631 yards. Not good here. 2 touchdowns to 4 picks, just a 65.9 rating. We're going to take a break. When I get back, we're going to talk about the Browns. Should they continue to roll out Joe Flacco? Should they make the switch? Well, it doesn't matter what we think because we all know what the Browns are probably going to do, and that's roll with Joe Flacco. But we'll still discuss when we get back right here on The Big Factor.
I kind of want to.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Before we continue our discussion for our Cleveland Browns, I got to tell you about our friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford, Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they won't be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Don't let that short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands on your new dream vehicle. Over 500 vehicles in stock on their lot. There's never been a better time to peruse. There's never been a better time to buy. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing and same hometown level of service. Scan that QR code now or go give them a visit, fairwayfordohio.com. One more time, that is fairwayfordohio.com. All right, guys, we're moved on from the Packers. A win's a win, but we got to look forward. Detroit Lions are next. A lot of people talking about the quarterback. It seems as though the Browns are going to hold steady and roll out Joe Flacco in Week 4 in Ford Field against the Detroit Lions. Some people want to see the rookie Dylan Gabriel get in there to kind of change and ignite something for the Cleveland Browns offense. We start here. Can the Browns move on? Not necessarily move on, but at least for now, bench Joe Flacco despite his performance, they did get a massive win over Green Bay.
No, you can't. And that's why they're not. Kevin Stefanski's doing the right thing. You can't send that message to the locker room. You've got too many vets because here's the mind frame as to why. And the idea of starting Gabriel is probably enticing because it's an unknown, and he certainly probably could and would be better than what we've gotten out of Joe Flacco. But Joel Bitonio can't forget that Joe Flacco is the guy that quarterbacked him to the playoffs. David Njoku can't forget about the chemistry that they had all 2023. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, these guys are in year 8 and they've been to the playoffs twice. And one of those guys that took them was Joe Flacco. So you can't go away from that guy for Dillon Gabriel until you're absolutely ready and you're absolutely sure that that's the move that needs made, because that would get the locker room completely lost. It's too wishy-washy for me. And I think that they would be like, okay, well, we had success with this guy. He just won us a game against a really good team. It wasn't pretty, but he got the job done. How are we going to switch to somebody else? For right now, I'm going to maintain starting Joe Flacco still makes sense, especially because we saw how good Detroit looked on Monday Night Football. I'm good riding it out with the old man for one more week. We'll see what happens. If it looks bad in Detroit, start Dillon Gabriel in London.
I was going to ask you, could it happen at halftime, though?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, so
I don't
you think no
so.
matter how
you
that
got to
gets.
give it because it looked bad. Like this past Sunday, it looked as horrible as it possibly could have looked through 3.5 quarters. And even then, it looked really bad until the last drive where he was able to put together a couple of throws to get the team in field goal range for Andre Schmidt. So I don't think they could do it this week. I just don't. The Lions are too good, to throw Dillon Gabriel in there. Because what if Dillon Gabriel melts down? That's the one thing that you cannot have happen. If Dillon Gabriel melts down, they ain't going back to Joe Flacco. They're not. You heard Deion Sanders say on the New Heights podcast the other day, he believes Shador is going to play this year. So if Dillon melts down, guess what? You can't go back to Flacco. You got to stick with him for another week and hope it doesn't happen again. And if it does, then you got to stick with him for another week. And eventually we'll get to see Shador this year, I believe as well. But for this week, I'm going to maintain starting Flacco is the right thing. I agree with the Browns with this.
My issue is that the Browns' win was so close to being yet another quote-unquote moral victory, and I'm so sick of those. You didn't win because of Joe Flacco. You won despite of Joe Flacco. I think that's fair to say. Did you guys see the Lions pass rush last night? 7 sacks compared to the Ravens 0. I'm not saying Joe Flacco,
elusive quarterback, by the way,
can't negate some of that pass rush, but he certainly can't move out of the pocket, and that worries me. I understand if you start
Neither could Gabriel. Gabriel's not exactly Lamar Jackson.
Sure. And I understand the thought process of if you go to Dillon Gabriel, you don't go back to Joe Flacco. Sure, I understand that. I still think you could, but I understand not wanting to do that if it's already out of the bag. To me, it's as simple as Dillon Gabriel gives you the best chance to win this week. I truly do believe that. And what do you lose if Dillon Gabriel goes out and looks bad? If he looks bad, you still go play him because he's a rookie and hope he can turn it around. I'm really looking at that London game, and then can he go into Pittsburgh and show me he can play NFL football? That'll be a big step for Dillon Gabriel if he starts at that point. And if Dillon Gabriel looks bad and you're in week 8 and you haven't gotten another win, okay, flip it over to Shador. And I mean, I understand as an NFL coach, you have to realize this is a long season and play it week by week. You don't want to be in week 10 and realize you have nothing left in your quarterback room. It's all pretty garbage. That sucks. But we might be there by week 17 regardless.
Patience, guys. Patience. They're going to do it eventually. You guys are jumping the gun on this. Patience.
The only reason that
after a win, they're not going to win many games. They're not going to win many games this year. They will do it. They will do it.
To that point, I understand that. But if I think Dillon Gabriel gives me the best chance to win, I don't want to. This season could be horrible. But I want to put my best foot forward and try to win every single game.
Well, they clearly don't. They clearly don't think that Dillon Gabriel
I'll shoot them some bail. I'll let him play again after he won the game. Now, granted, had nothing to do with him that they won that game.
0.
Simply the facts. He's 24th in the league in completion percentage. He's last in yards per pass. He's second most interceptions. He's got the lowest quarterback rating in the league, like the 4th lowest QBR. He's playing terrible. And at some point, that means something's going to have to happen. He's going to have to make a change. Might not happen this week. If they start getting absolutely boat raced in Detroit, like I think you could see the guy Gabriel play at halftime. Like it's it's very bad. And it's only because they won that game, and he has the defense to thank that they somehow got that W. But I wholeheartedly think if they lost that game and it was trending towards 0 points or 3 points before that Delpit interception, he would have been benched this week.
And if you're going to be drafting a quarterback regardless next year, whether it's in the first round, Rob, like you said, potentially waiting until the second round, getting more of a different premium at a different position, what are we protecting Dylan Gabriel from then? It's the NFL. We say this, every team is going to have good players.
I agree. I personally,
and this isn't like you were throwing him in week 1. No, you saw 3 weeks, of Joe Flacco. First week against Cincinnati looked okay. That defense is atrocious. The 2 weeks we saw him against a formidable defense, he's looked very, very bad. Can it get really worse?
I would have started the kid last week, but
it could always get worse.
They won a game. I don't know. It can't get worse than last place. I just told you he was last in every metric.
Yeah,
at the end, it'll be the same. It could be bad, but I mean, Joe's also he's got the second most turnovers.
And what's the difference if we find out that Dylan Gabriel stinks week 10 than week 4? What's the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. If he is good, well then guess what? By week 4, you figure that out, and your season still has a hope to go win.
Yeah.
Only person with more interceptions than Flacco is Jake Browning. So if Dylan goes in there and he's throwing more picks, I mean, same deal, just different quarterback. But like you said, Nick, I think we're wasting our breath on it for right now.
We really are.
You know, they're gonna play him, and they might if he
really
looks
might
really
play him
bad,
in London. But that's the thing. Even if he plays bad, they might play him in London. You guys truly are wasting your breath. This is the most stubborn regime that you're gonna find. They make a decision. They stand 10
I'm
toes
sure
down
they actually probably laid it out at some point that Dylan won't play until Miami or something. And no matter how bad Joe plays, we won't even think about putting someone in until Miami.
Yep.
So it's something like that may be in the works, and we might just have to sit and deal with it. But maybe the defense could pull the rabbit out of a hat 1 or 2 more times before then.
All right, before we go to break and flip over to our Cleveland Guardians who deserve well time on the air, Monday Night Football, I want to talk a little bit about it. The Detroit Lions go into Maryland, defeat the Baltimore Ravens, and that was an amazing game, first of all. David Montgomery, man, so underrated. Jahmyr Gibbs is awesome in his own right, but you saw what David Montgomery was able to do. Dan Campbell, the 4th down calls, that like sweep option to Jahmyr Gibbs on the 4th down was just a thing of beauty. Then the one to Amon-Ra that really sealed the game. The Lions, despite losing both coordinators, still look pretty dang good. Jared Goff is like the poster child for he's not going to wow you with his athleticism, but boy, can he run an offense, and he's found something special there in Detroit.
He really I really think, and like this isn't even a hot take, like the Lions can win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. I know Lions fans agree with that. Yeah. I truly believe that they can. Like he gives them enough juice. And it's not just managing the game. Like he does things within a game plays. that's legit, like only a couple guys in the league.
And he doesn't take sacks.
And he's smart, right? And he gets the ball out of his hands quick. So that is one of the like rare win-win trades in the history of the National Football League, because obviously the Rams win a Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, and he's still quarterbacking them to be a formidable team out there in the NFC, even though things haven't started too hot. And then you got Jared Goff leading the Lions out of poverty and out of, the quarterback hell that they had created for themselves in the Stafford era. Like it all worked tremendously well for everybody. And the Lions are the truth. I know they lost the coordinators. That was the hot topic. They lost week 1. Everybody was panicking, but they're really good.
Well, talk about a litmus test for the Cleveland Browns defense going on the road to take on what I think is the best offense in the NFL, possibly against the Detroit Lions. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, we're flipping it over to Cleveland Guardians. A massive homestand against the Detroit Tigers that could potentially decide the AL Central champion. We'll talk about that. And does Jose Ramirez deserve to be in consideration for the AL MVP? We'll discuss when we get back right here on The Big Factor.
video from our
Hey, everybody.
correspondent.
Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. We spent enough time talking about our Cleveland Browns. It's time to flip over to our Cleveland Guardians, who have fought and clawed their way back into the playoff picture. Right now, they hold the final AL wildcard spot. They're tied with Houston for that, but they do hold a tiebreaker over them. But not only that, Jack, our Cleveland Guardians have been so hot. They're just one game back of the Detroit Tigers for the AL Central. Jack, a massive homestand for our Cleveland Guardians. Is this the biggest regular season homestand for our Cleveland Guardians since we've been born?
Yeah, it's up there. I think there's a couple of chances to get into the playoffs in 2019.
Is that an
we missed out
exaggeration
on.
on my part?
It's close. I would say 2019 we had a big homestand to end the year, and then 2013 you got to win 8 games in a row to get into the playoffs, so that was huge. The Jason Giambi walk-off home run, like that, I'd probably say is right neck and neck with this. But yeah, dude, I mean, if you look at it, July 7th, MLB.com comes out their power rankings, right? Right after the fireworks come out, July 4th. Tigers number 1 in the league. Guardians all the way down at number 22. You don't even lose Emmanuel Clase for a couple more weeks. Like, the way this team has fought back is ridiculous. And we talked about it last week. I said Thursday's game, whoever wins that game, we win the division. It's even more true today. If you find a way to beat the Tigers when they're throwing their best shot at you, Tarek Skubal, tonight, and you tie up that division, you're winning this race. Like, the momentum being at home the next 2 days after, you know you're going to win the pitching matchup for sure the other 2 days. I mean, everyone in our rotation thinks they could take on hell with a squirt gun right now. Like, it's a good spot to be in, and yeah, if you can find a way to get it done tonight, like, it really starts to look real.
Nick, what can you say about this Guardians team, man?
I mean, tremendous. You really run out of adjectives trying to figure out the words to describe these guys, because I'll maintain, and maybe they'll prove me wrong, right? Like, maybe some of these guys will go on and have legendary careers here in Cleveland. But for now, I truly believe that this is not the most talented team that we've seen in Cleveland baseball history. I don't know that most of these guys on the roster are really any good. I don't know if, like, we cut some of these guys today, they'd have a spot on other MLB rosters just to close out the last 7 days of the season. Like, I do think that Stephen Vogt has found a way to put lipstick all over this pig. I think he's found a way to get contributions from the starting rotation unlike anything we've ever seen. And think about all of the great rotations we've seen in our lives. Like, we saw Kluber, Clevenger, Bauer, Carrasco all in the same rotation. Those guys were all Cy Young winners, or candidates at some point in their career. So, like, the fact that he's been able to do this with, like, Bybee, Gavin Williams, Slade Ciccone, Logan Out, like, we had big questions about all of those names just a couple of months ago. So they've really turned this thing around, and it's been something to behold. Job's not, the words of the late, great Kobe Bryant, though, job's not finished. And until they finish the job, and until they beat the Detroit Tigers this week, they can't get too big for their britches. But the one thing about this baseball team is I don't think they do that. I don't think they're the type of team that reads their own press clippings. I don't think you've got to get worried about them ever getting too high or too low. How many teams go on a 10-game losing streak, turn it around, finally you're right back in the thick of it, lose a bunch of games again, wind up 15 and a half games down in the division, and now here you sit 1 game out with a chance to steal the division this week? Simply doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's so tough, though, is you did about as well as you could in terms of a blueprint against Scuba the last time out against him. You get him out of there in 6 innings. You take so many pitches. It's really, really, really tough to do it twice in a, 6-day span against Tarek Scuba. But if there's a team that can do it, it's a team that did it in the playoffs last year.
Well, Jack, it starts tonight, 6:40 p.m. first pitch in Cleveland. Tarek Skubal versus Gavin Williams. Then you flip it over to tomorrow. We have Tanner Bybee, and then the next day slated is Parker Messick. Could you have a better 1-2-3 going into this massive series?
Man, I'd love a Joey Cantillo appearance in there somewhere, but no, it doesn't get much better than that. Parker Messick's been incredible. He doesn't walk hitters. Guys don't get on base against him. When you're trying to win close, low-scoring baseball games, you want guys on the mound who don't allow base runners. So he's going to be a great option on Thursday. You said it's Tanner tomorrow?
Yes.
Said made 2 of his best starts of the year out of his last 3 starts. So yeah, you're in a real good spot.
All right, let me ask you guys this, because we're getting towards the end of the regular season, and if the Guardians do go ahead and make the playoffs, not only that, but they do go ahead and beat the Tigers, clean it up with the Rangers, and win the AL Central, does Stephen Vogt deserve consideration for 2-time back-to-back AL Manager of the Years?
I mean, he probably won't get it. I feel like just because the way that the season started, and really the way that the entire season was, sans like the last 3 weeks were kind of rocky and kind of up and down. I mean, he should deserve consideration. He would probably get votes, no pun intended, to win AL Manager of the Year, but I don't know ultimately that he gets it. But I mean, the case is right there because of the improbability of this all.
It'd be really, really, I mean, especially because voter fatigue is a real thing in sports. We all know that. I'd be a little shocked if Dan Wilson from the Mariners didn't get it this year. But if you're separating best cases, you're not looking at all who won it last year. He's a no-brainer, right? I mean, just like thinking about the 10-game losing streak, Emmanuel Clase, everyone you brought in the offseason didn't produce. Like every single thing that could have went wrong for Stephen Vogt this year did. And this team is in a spot that's just as good as last year.
All right. Well, speaking of another award, the AL MVP, it could not be more close right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. Cal Riley, Aaron Judge, both tied with the same odds for AL MVP at -115. Should Jose Ramirez be considered for AL MVP? I'll ask you guys that when we get back right here on The Big Factor.
Go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan, Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson. We're talking about the American League MVP race. For the National League, it's all but over. Shohei Ohtani's going to win the award again on FanDuel Sportsbook. His odds, -50,000 to win the National League MVP. But it is much closer in the American League. Cal Riley and Aaron Judge both have the same odds, -115 to win the AL MVP. Couldn't be more close. However, Jack, I'm going to ask you to make a case for one Jose Ramirez to win MVP. Now, I want to read you some stats before I do that about the three players. Okay, I'm looking at Aaron Judge's stats, batting .326 average, which leads the majors. 49 home runs, just 12 stolen bases. But I want to mention this, 157 strikeouts. Okay, we flip it over for Cal Riley. Batting just .247, however, 58 home runs, just 14 stolen bases, and 179 strikeouts.
Jeez.
Jose Ramirez batting just .282. However, 30 home runs, 40 stolen bases, just 73 strikeouts. Jack, can you make a case for Jose Ramirez to be the 2025 AL MVP?
Absolutely, because counting stats are dead in the sport of baseball, like we've all known for a very long time, guys. But here's the thing with Jose Ramirez. Everyone talks about the Michael Jordan argument. Oh, but Michael Jordan played against plumbers. Michael Jordan played against plumbers. Jose Ramirez has played with plumbers for the last 5 years. You absolutely have to have this man in the MVP conversation. It is most valuable player. It's not the best player of the year award. It is the most valuable player. If you take Jose Ramirez off of the Cleveland Guardians, they win 75 games every single year. Steven Kwan is having a down year for what Steven Kwan is. He's the second most productive hitter on this team. So that's your number 2. Kyle Manzardo, this is basically his first full year as a major league hitter. That's your number 3. Like, there is not a number 2 star or even like a Rob, like a CJ McCollum equivalent for him to work with out here. I mean, he's just going out there with a bunch of guys.
You got Eric Snow.
If you look at the total team batting war for the Cleveland Guardians this year, Jose Ramirez makes up 49% of the whole entire team's batting war. Do you guys understand how ridiculous that is? There are 13 hitters on a roster. There are 9 that play every single game. One man makes up half of it. There were 3 games this year, I believe it was against the Tigers early in the year, where Jose had a messed up thumb. He couldn't play. He sat out. He watched how bad it was. Guys, that thumb's still hurting. He hasn't sat out a day since then, because he just can't afford to. He's a guy who's over 30 years old. Being above 30 is just plain ridiculous. He's the heart and soul of the team. He runs at every single ball. You have to have this man in MVP conversation.
A big thing too for MVP should be, when are you performing at your best? And Jose Ramirez is certainly at his best, right? Over his last 17 games, 297, 392, 593 slash line. About to finish his third 30-30 campaign. And he should be, and probably will be at the end of this year, inside the top 5 in AL MVP voting for the 6th time in the past 9 seasons. He's never won one yet, and there's a good chance, unfortunately, that he might not. But you talk about consistency, and Jose Ramirez is the poster child.
And also, you got to remember, this guy chose to stay in Cleveland, Ohio on a $100 million discount. He's the best.
Statue.
No,
Statue
build
now.
it. Build it. Yeah. You got to erect a statue, right? Is that what they call it? Yeah. Do it right now for our guy.
All right, Jack. If Jose Ramirez, and I'll ask you guys this as well, doesn't win the MVP, and it appears that way, who should win it? Cal Riley or Aaron Judge?
Everyone in the world is going to hate my answer, but I still think the right answer is Aaron Judge. Like, home runs are really, really cool, and they help your baseball team a lot. And it's really tough to do as a catcher because catcher, like, hey, you're handling the most physical duress of any position besides pitcher out there. So like you're doing a lot of different stuff, but I don't know. Aaron Judge was pretty much neck and neck with him in a lot of things until he got hurt. You saw just how bad that Yankees team this year without Juan Soto was without him when he was out. And then once they came back, they swing right back up towards the top of the AL. So I'm going to go with Aaron Judge.
I do think it's Judge as well. And actually, my argument for Aaron Judge is kind of my same argument for Jose Ramirez. And you just hit it there. Like it's called the most valuable player. Like you take away Jose Ramirez from the Guardians, they're not very good. You take Aaron Judge away from the Yankees, and we actually got a brief look at what that looked like this season when he went through that scare. So I agree with Jack. I think it's actually going to be Aaron Judge. I know Cal Riley, went on that crazy start to the season, and then the home runs have really persisted the entire way. But ultimately, when you look at a complete baseball player, like it's going to be Judge. I really believe that.
Well, if this isn't an indicator of how close this race is, I'm not sure what is. MLB's final MVP poll from 40 voters. Aaron Judge leads it with 21 first-place votes. Cal Riley right behind him, number 2, at 19 first-place votes.
So no one voted for anyone else?
No one voted for anybody
What are
else.
Jose's odds if someone wanted to...
He doesn't. No one's talking about him in the conversation. We are the ones starting the conversation.
East Coast.
Well, Twitter
It's
Wrap
quite
it up.
literally going to be one of those two players.
Yes.
Judge.
Well, we will see what happens, but in the meantime, we're going to take a break, but stick around because right at the end of this break, Ohio State running back James Peoples is going to join the show, talk about his new NIL deal with Popeyes as well as Ohio State as they begin to launch their Big Ten play. We'll do that when we get back right here on The Big Factor.
All right, everybody, welcome into a very special guest interview. Today, we are lucky to be joined by James Peoples, who has a little bit of a deal going on with Popeyes. Popeyes is setting out to celebrate college football athletes who embody the pursuit of better this football season through NIL partnerships highlighted by our guy, James Peoples. The roster of 10 athletes represents players who rose from backups in 2024 to become starters in 2025 through relentless hustle and drive. From September 9th through November 8th, each Popeyes NIL athlete will receive an individual promo code for Popeyes Rewards members to enjoy 12 wings for $12. So you could get James' code. Peoples12 is that code that you want to use. James, thanks so much for joining us on the bye week here. And how excited are you to be working with Popeyes?
Of course. Thank you guys for first having me on the show. Man, I'm overjoyed. I'm so grateful to have this partnership going with Popeyes, man. I've enjoyed it so far and just, the relationship that we've been building. So I'm overjoyed.
Do you have a go-to Popeyes order?
Oh, gotta get into it.
You know what's funny? I just had Popeyes not too long ago. So I just got me
Strength
I got
coach
me a
is not
spicy
gonna like
chicken
that one.
sandwich. I got me a spicy chicken sandwich, man. Some chicken tenders, some mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, and I topped it off with a lemonade. So I kind of switch it up. There's so much good stuff on the menu, but always with that spicy chicken sandwich. I gotta have it. Gotta have it.
It is a go-to. So the Ohio State Buckeyes, undefeated to start the season, going into the bye week. You guys have the Big Ten chunk of your schedule coming up. How nice does it feel to be undefeated? How nice does it feel to be the #1 team in the country, especially coming off the national championship just a year ago?
I mean, we're starting off strong. And as y'all can see, we have a talented team, and we just looking forward to keeping that going in the Big Ten play. You know, we in conference now. I mean, being #1, you got your good, and then it also comes with having a target on your back. But when does Ohio State never have a target on our back? So we just gonna keep on going, keep on churning. You right, we did have this bye week, so we just been improving, getting better at the things we need to get better at. On to Washington now.
So with the bye week, you might, I don't know, maybe you'll have a second or more to play video games this week. Are you at all a college football video game guy? Have you gotten the chance to play with yourself yet?
I definitely have. Definitely when it came out earlier, when like it first released, I was really on that heavy. And then my teammates, we playing each other and all type of stuff. Friends, family. So I got a chance to, try my character.
What's your cheat code play to go to? Like you got a little slip screen to yourself? Like what's the go-to move?
I just pound the ball every play.
Best way to do it.
I
You'll run
remember
the
there were
ball.
headlines like around when the game came out that Ryan Day like encouraged you guys to get on the game, to learn plays that way, to get associated with the team that way. That actually happened. Ryan Day wanted you guys on NCAA.
Yes, he's talking about. He mentioned something talking about you guys should get on there to see team schemes and all type of stuff. Like it was hilarious, but yeah, he was being serious that he wants to get on there and like he's like, "Oh, you're actually pretty good in the game," and this, that, and the third. So it was funny. It was funny, but yeah, just having fun with the game and everything with it.
Like, wow, the ball carrier vision.
James, I wanted to ask, we've had Carlos Lachlan, the running back coach, on our Bobby Carpenter show here at the Big Play Sports Network a couple times, and that's a character to say the least. And I just wanted to say, do you have anything funny you could share about your running back coach and how fun it is to play for him?
Coach Locke, oh my goodness, do I have anything funny to say about him? Just that he's always yelling, but he's always yelling. But he's always yelling with passion. He has so much passion behind his work, which you can appreciate once you get down to it with him. But nah, he's a great coach. He's a great person as well. Guru of the game and of football in itself. Super smart. I can't ask for a better coach, man. So yeah, he's great.
All right, James, last one before we get you out of here. We appreciate your time today, of course. What's one message you want to give to Buckeye Nation, the Buckeye faithful out there, as you guys get ready to take on this Big Ten schedule?
Yes, man. Y'all hold it down with us. We know we going into Big Ten play, and we about to go on a run. I see this team going on a run, man. We're so talented. We're so stacked, and we got the guys to do it. So stay in our corner. And through the ups and downs, hills and valleys, man, we're going to keep on fighting. So appreciate y'all for your support, man.
He is Ohio State running back James Peoples. Make sure to order some Popeyes this month. Use his code Peoples12 for extra hookup in that app. James, thanks again.
I appreciate you guys.
We'll be back with more of The Big Factor right after this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson. Huge shout out to Ohio State running back James Peoples for popping out The Big Factor. Popeyes code Peoples12. Use that, you get a discount. Okay, guys, we got to flip it over. Well, actually, let's stay with Ohio State for a little bit because we're going to be at Lakewood Truck Park this Saturday, the 27th, for a pre-show as Ohio State gets ready to begin Big Ten play against the Washington Huskies. I'm excited. Lakewood Truck Park is an amazing venue. It's going to be a ton of fun. We want you guys out there.
Ohio State has a 3:30 game. We are going to be out there at 2 p.m. Come hang out with the Big Factor crew. We're going to be at the Lakewood Truck Park.
Wow.
They got all sorts of drink specials for you guys. You know, it's an Ohio State game on the road. Watch it with some Buckeye fans. Come on down to the Lakewood Truck Park. We'll be live on the Factor 2:30 through kickoff, get you guys amped and ready to go for that game. Obviously, we just heard from Ohio State running back James Peoples, who will be a piece of that action out there in Seattle. So come on down to the Lakewood Truck Park this Saturday. We'll see you guys there. It is going to be a ton of fun. We did it last year for the Guardians in the postseason. We're running it back this year for Ohio State this Saturday and this Saturday only. So come on out and we'll see you there.
It's really one of the greatest places to go watch anything. The food is great. They have always, of course, they have food trucks there. It's tremendous. The drinks are awesome, and the deals are great. All right, what do you say we make a little bit of money on our FanDuel parlay? Nick, before we do that, we got to tell people a little bit about our great friends over at FanDuel.
I absolutely can't wait to tell people about FanDuel, Ryan, because last night, if you put together a couple player prop bets in a high-scoring game, you probably would have won yourself a couple of bones, and that's why FanDuel is getting you ready for this NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, you bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. So last night, if you had Lions money line, you would have won $300. If you had a David Montgomery anytime touchdown, $300. Amon-Ra St. Brown, $300. Derrick Henry, $300. It's just that simple. You could build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question now, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay. Download that FanDuel app today and get started. You got to be 21 plus and present here in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonuses are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, Jack, I don't want to spoil too much. I'll put that back up in a second. Don't want to spoil too much, but you know we're doing a guards-heavy parlay because, of course, we are. Jack, why don't you take it away?
You know, if you got a heartbeat and a trachea, you got to be down at Progressive Field all week long. This is the biggest series we've had in a long, long time, as you just said, Ryan. We're going to welcome those Detroit Tigers into town with a 4-leg plus 498 SGP coming in first. You know Rob's taking that Nerfy every single time with the big rig on the mound. Then we're going with the man himself, Gavin Williams, to have 6 strikeouts against that putrid Detroit Tigers lineup. And then Scooble Day, it doesn't matter. Last time he was in town, this one hit over 2.5 Guardians team total tonight. And then last but not least, guys, you know we got to get it done tonight. The division comes down to 6:40 p.m. at the ballpark tonight. Cleveland Guardians money line. Guys, it feels like 1948.
Woo! Plus 498 on that parlay. One more time. That's no run in the first inning for our Cleveland Guardians versus Detroit Tigers. Gavin Williams, 6+ Ks, over 2.5 Cleveland Guardians total runs. And then we'll put a bow on it with the W for our Cleveland Guardians betting the money line, plus 498. All right, guys, this has been an awesome show. Go Guardians. Jack, what do you have to say to these fans? It's going to be maybe a little bit chilly. The weather might not cooperate, but to the Guardians fans, how big of a home stretch this is and just the vibe you're feeling and the magic in this city.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows that it's a football town, and rightfully so. It's America's game. But there comes a time in Cleveland, right as the weather starts to turn a little bit, you know, the Browns start to lose a couple of games, even though they're coming off a win, where people can get behind cheering like it's a football town out at the baseball stadium a little bit for a couple of days. They got to get out that pent-up energy, you know? And that's what's coming right now. Cleveland is not the biggest city. They're never going to spend the most money. They're never going to have the best players. But the one thing that Cleveland has better than anyone else in the sport of baseball is playoff atmosphere. Like, this city always comes ready to go, rocking the all-red. Like, it's so fun to get down to that ballpark. You have to get down there this week. Make it just as loud for Tarek Skubal as you did last year.
Alrighty, well, appreciate everybody tuning into the Big Factor today. Huge shout out Fairway Forward, huge shout out Garage Beer, huge shout out Lakewood Truck Park, and huge shout out, of course, to our partners at FanDuel. We appreciate everybody tuning in, whether it's on social media or on the Rock Entertainment Sports Group. We'll be back tomorrow, same people, same time. Until then, go Browns, enjoy the victory, but we're on to the Lions. Go Guardians, beat those Detroit Tigers, and let's play some October baseball. We'll see you then.